Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock here on Tuesday night, June the 16th. This is the First Alert Weather Show at 9. We stream every night here at 9 o'clock and also during the day, during the week to keep you up to date with the weather. And of course, we have an alert day for tomorrow, so lots of concerns there about when the storms will roll in, what they're going to punch through and so forth. I am watching your questions and comments, by the way, on the 14 News Facebook page. So if you have a question, you can certainly ask it. I'll do my best to answer those a little later on here in the show. Well, first off, the alert day pertains to tomorrow evening. About this time, actually, we may preempt the First Alert Weather Show for First Alert Weather coverage. We'll have to see how it plays out. But it looks like all the elements will be in place tomorrow afternoon and evening for some locally heavy rainfall and potentially some damaging winds, even tornadoes with some of the stronger thunderstorms. And this multi-threat situation will last through the afternoon and into the evening on Wednesday. The radar is quiet right now. No concerns about tonight. You can sleep tight. We're not going to have any storms or anything. In fact, we may not even have thunderstorms until later in the day tomorrow. I mean, definitely later, but until after, say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The plains are pretty active right now. You see a number of warnings out there, and it just shows we have a lot of warm, humid air now in place, and it's just like gasoline for these storms. It's the fuel they need to really get going. Now, the risk in the plains is much higher than it will be over the tri-state. It's at a level 4. By tomorrow, we have been upgraded, as I mentioned, to a level 3 on a scale of 5. So that is more numerous thunderstorms out there, and there's a little higher confidence we will see some severe weather with them tomorrow evening. So that's the biggest concern right now. I did look at the machine learning probabilities. You know, we've been looking at our AI forecasts out of the Colorado State University, and it is basically showing that same area that the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted for severe weather, mainly damaging winds. This is the tornado probability, and for the tri-state, it's a pretty low risk, 2 to 5%. But the damaging wind threat is higher, of course, as it would be with a line of storms. That typically is what they do. They produce widespread damaging winds. Kind of like a derecho. I'm not saying that's what it'll be, but you know how when you get a line of storms coming, you'll get wind out ahead of it and very widespread tree and power line damage and stuff like that. A derecho would be a higher end threat that would travel longer. I don't think this will be that, but damaging winds certainly realistic for tomorrow afternoon. We may get our first whiff of storms early in the evening there, say between 4 and 7. And then our model continues to trend a little bit later for the main line of rain, possibly additional damaging winds there. That would be closer to, say, 9 p.m. to midnight, and then moving on out. Because we have a cold front involved, it should push it on out of here and kick it out to stay. We've had a situation in the last few days where there aren't really any good strong steering currents. So we've had these thunderstorms that kind of drift around and flood everything. That should not be the case tomorrow. Widespread, we're looking maybe at an inch and a half of rain. Now, some of the thunderstorms may produce flash flooding, but I don't think we're going to see a widespread setup like we saw maybe last week, even though it was fairly localized, first on the west side Friday night, then more on the east side Saturday night of Vanderburgh County. Temperatures have backed off a bit. We are currently in the upper 70s. Around the tri-state now we have upper 70s showing. And our high today got up to 84 degrees. That was after a morning low of 72. Boy, it was muggy out there. If you were out at all, you know how humid it was. And because of all the moisture in the atmosphere, we're kind of primed for some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms tomorrow. This has been a very wet June. We're about 3.5 inches above normal just for the month, and we're, about halfway through now, a little over. And for the year, we are almost 10 inches ahead of normal for rainfall. Really, really incredible. 30% more rain than the normal first 6 months would show. All right, excuse me. Tomorrow we have highs in the upper 80s. and very humid, and then the storms roll in during the afternoon and evening. The cold front here I've depicted basically where that low pressure will track up toward Chicago. We will see those storms in perhaps 2 waves, and then once the cold front clears the region, we are back into more of a stable or just a hot, humid pattern, really. Look how hot it gets here through the weekend. Summer begins on Friday with the summer solstice, longest day of the year, and then over the weekend, here come the mid-90s. So there will be no mistaking. We have shifted from spring to summer this weekend. And mainly dry, storm-free anyway, through the weekend. Next week, maybe some scattered showers and storms by Tuesday, Wednesday. 73 tonight with humid conditions, and then thunderstorms developing during the afternoon and evening. Many severe storms are possible tomorrow night, so the alert day sticks. And then Thursday, very early, maybe some thunderstorms. Otherwise, for Juneteenth during the day, it'll be sunny with a high of 84. That'll be our coolest day in the next 7 as we race into the 90s and stay there through next week. Much warmer than normal temperatures expected through the 27th, and drier along the eastern seaboard, but near normal rainfall elsewhere, which would include the tri-state. And our pet picks tonight, this was a good one, a kitty and a dog checking out the birdhouse out there. This is Ash and Bella Rose, taken by Wendy Deering. So thank you for that picture, and we will come over here now to our Facebook page and see if we have any comments or questions or concerns from folks. How cloudy, let's see here, let me go all the way to the top here. We've got Laura Gray watching in Dawson Springs, Ashlyn Emmons watching this evening. William Raleigh got 8,700 yesterday and 300s a day. Really wet month in backyard by Bossy Field. It's been a wet wet everywhere this month for a variety of reasons there. Paula Schaefer's in, Justin Fleischman in Chandler. Cheyenne Hammonds wants some early. She doesn't like overnight storms. Yeah, not really. You know, the models, while they have been fairly good at telling us, okay, we're going to have storms on a certain day, not so good on timing this time around. And so we're just going to have to play it by ear tomorrow. But just the odds typically favor afternoon, evening for thunderstorms when we have the greatest heating in the atmosphere. Okay, let's see. I got our regular crowd in here this evening. Leanne Buckwinkle, this weekend is looking like great pool weather finally. Yes, it will be. Everybody will want to get in that pool. Let's see. I got almost all the questions. Paula Schaefer will need a bush hog for her yard. I know, it has been so wet, and you know, you got to mow like every 2 or 3 days to keep it kind of, you know, where you want it. But anyhow, so yeah, our plan tomorrow, of course, all 4 of us are here, all the weather folks are here. So we'll have you covered. We have our streaming show at 8:30 in the morning. Arden Gregory and Michael Fecka will be on our new First Alert midday show. That's at noon. And it's straight weather from noon to about 12:40 or so. So if you like weather, if you can't get enough weather, our midday is now strictly weather up until 12:40, and then it's midday with Mike after that. So check it out. All of us contribute to that show every day. Let's have a little science corner here because we need to talk about heat. Remember heat? We haven't had a lot of it this year, at least not the kind of heat that's coming this weekend. And you know, with our warming climate and warmer temperatures overall, more risky heat days are happening. Just in Evansville alone, if you look back in the stats there, an average of about 5 more extreme heat days is now occurring. And what's an extreme heat day? Well, it's not necessarily 110 degrees. Rather, it is a situation where you have the heat and the humidity combining to make a heat index of, say, like 105 or greater, because that's a hazardous level of heat and humidity. And so that combination is happening more frequently now than it did, say, 50 years ago there, 1970. And I guess it's been more than 50 years ago, hasn't it? anyway, we won't get into that. 55 years ago. 1970 doesn't seem that long ago, but it certainly was. Anyway, we've had more frequent extreme heat and humidity combinations, and you got to remember, heat, we call that the silent killer in weather. More people die from heat every year than any other weather hazard, and by a mile. It's not even close. Flooding is the next big killer in weather on the 10-year average and 30-year average. And then on the 30-year average, tornadoes come in third, and rip currents on the short term there. We don't worry about rip currents too much here with the Ohio River and Kentucky Lake and that, but along the coast they're certainly possible. Anyway, just another urging on our part to not blow off heat. Do consider that as hazardous weather. Take precautions, especially with your kids. You got older folks, if you've got breathing problems or you're compromised in some way, because heat can sneak up on you and cause a lot of problems that you are not anticipating and maybe not prepared to handle, including, dizziness and cramping and passing out and so on and so forth. So we'll talk about the differences between heat stroke and heat exhaustion in later updates here, but for now, let's concentrate on tomorrow. We'll try to think good thoughts and steer those big storms away from us, but we are going to get thunderstorms tomorrow, so do be prepared, be alert. I'll have new info on 14 News at 10, and then of course we'll have you covered throughout the day tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. You have a great night.